Jarl Useless Fodder loads the entire squad onto ships in November of 879 and sets out to make their fortune. King Louis II would capitulate, surrendering a sizable tract of land. To the conquerors, it would be known simply as FoddSquad HQ. In the summer of 909, Jarl Fodder elevated himself to the title of king. Ascending to lead the squad in May of 916, Darine has his hands full with the Christian crusade against the heathen holdings in Britannia. The war would proceed well for a couple months, but in July, the bulk of the continental Catholics would arrive at East Cx well before the Norse could fully assemble. Despite the squad's best efforts, Darine would sail them home in March of 918. By 919, Prince Aussie was doing well, with 3 healthy children and firm control of his lands. Shame about the eye, though. Waksu was on equally solid footing even with his split realm. Prince Polly's position was far more tenuous, with less direct control over his lands, 4 daughters, and an unsurprising drinking problem. In the fall of that year, King Darine would lead his troops on raiding parties in an attempt to deal with a failing treasury. After a full year of raiding, just as the troops were preparing to return home, Darine received a sign from above. Surely glory is on its way. In March of 921, an attempt would be made on the king's life. Much to his luck, his sister Lagatha was there and led a noble defense, saving the king's life. Whilst on a hunt later that year, Waksu would injure himself, but the king was quick to abandon the hunt to come to his brother's aid. Ah yes, the famous FoddSquad love ballad.
FoddSquad is on the LZ.
Prince Hoodle was granted a duchy of his own in spring of 924. We'll check back in after a few years to see how that's going. Not wanting Darine Jr. to feel left out, later that summer the squad would set sail for Wales to secure Darine Jr.'s inheritance. The fighting would begin in earnest in September with rapid victories for the squad. After thoroughly battering the Welsh army, siege camps were erected to begin laying claims to the land. A few more battles would be fought, but after the capture of both Princess Mabon and the Welsh spymaster, King Darine forced a full surrender. The bulk of the lands were given to Darine Jr., but the island of Anglesey would be granted to the son of Lagatha, Slugfox. After returning from the war, King Darine found out that after merely a year, Hoodle had tired of his duchy and destroyed the title. By 928, it came to light that Prince Aussie had been plotting with the King of England against Darine. When confronted, Aussie made a full confession and swore to do better. Hoodle would once again be granted a duchy. Hopefully this time he'll behave with it.
Hey man, this look pretty good, man. Where your clothes at?
In 933, Prince Aussie would take Hoodle prisoner, and at this point, I don't think King Darine could really blame him. Sitting down to a beautiful spring meal in 936, Darine would raise his last glass, not due to stress or drinking. Someone had poisoned the king. Useless Fodder II would quickly take control as the troops were once again raiding Normandy. Hoodle had managed to squander enough of his lands that when Darine passed, he ended up with lands that should have passed to Fodder II. Unsurprisingly, Hoodle and his great-uncles were none too pleased at the crown's attempts to remedy this situation and rose in rebellion. After 2 years of fighting, hostilities would finally come to an end with the capture of Prince Hoodle in May of 938. With rebellion out of the way, the realm turned its attention to building up their own economy. Probably not smart to stake your entire economy on raiding your neighbors. Prince Waksu would die in 942. He had never had the strongest relationship with his ruling brother and nephews, but when it counted, he was always there for the squad. A year later, the squad would carve further lands out of the Kingdom of Burgundy, securing the succession for the next generation of squad mates. Checking in on the squad, Aussie's son had died in battle and control of Brittany passed to his 9-year-old grandson. Waksu's son Heminger looked to be an absolute unit of a leader and should have things well in hand in Champagne. It's strongly suspected that Polly was murdered. His daughter had been ruling in Flanders, but had since left for Normandy, leaving Polly's grandson Oswulf in charge. Darine II had died young, and for some reason let his second son inherit the Welsh territories. And of course, Hoodle destroyed his ducal title a second time, and just sort of continues to be a pain in the crown's side. Not wanting to slow the growth of the squad, in 946 Fodder II would declare war on Aquitaine. The troops would first clash at Valençay, where the squad would win a resounding victory. While celebrating that victory, another FoddSquad king would raise his last cup, finding it full of poison. Dobsonian ascends at the age of 27, inheriting a mostly stable kingdom, but an ambitious war. Can he curtail the infighting in the squad and focus on true growth? Find out next time.